In DeKalb County, Georgia, students have a little over 50% chance of graduation. These numbers make it hard to compete on a global scale. In Georgia, 88% of inmates are high school dropouts. Nationwide, high school dropouts are almost 8 times more likely to be dependent on welfare, 6 times more likely to be unwed parents. High school dropouts can earn an average of $270,000 less than graduates over the course of their lives. In Georgia, high school dropouts represent a $7.3 billion loss in potential earnings. We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build the youth for the future. A quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt. I believe strongly and sincerely we can build our youth for the future. The question is, how and when do we make a big impact? I believe as others it starts in the community. By now, almost everyone is aware of the dropout rate that plagues our nation. We know that the United States has a 50% graduation rate. There are many questions and concerns that surround high school dropouts and disconnected youth. What are some of the factors? What are some of the breaking concerns? First of all, let's look at disconnected youth situation. What and who are disconnected youth? Disconnected youth, by definition, is youth between the ages of 16 and 19 who are not in school or employed. I've decided to put together a two-part job community that focuses on these issues to bring awareness that will bring forth immediate action in our community and abroad. It would all start here at the East DeKalb Boys and Girls Club in Lithonia, Georgia.
Fun run, mile run. Guys, we gonna do it or what? Oh, we gonna do it? Yeah! All right. Yeah! Are we gonna take it? Yeah! All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is what we do. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Y'all sit down on that bed. Sit down.
All right, everybody grab it. All right, everybody buckle up. Make sure you buckle up. All right. Come on, y'all.
And we're working on a collage of what describes us and what we think expresses us.
Denzel Washington, this is the membership card he speaks about, that you never leave home without it. And it has our creed on the back of it. So the kids know the creed and, they recite that.
So when I think about Boys and Girls Club, like you said, a safe haven for children. A place where they can do their homework, where if, moms have to work late, they don't have to be latchkey kids. A place where they can dream and make some of those dreams come true. That's what I think about when I think about Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, and impact, that's another word that comes to mind. Talk about some of the ways that the Boys and Girls Club could impact the community.
Well, in the community service makes me think of some of the ways we can impact, because we do teach our children with our leadership clubs to do community service. So I think the impact that having a Boys and Girls Club in your community, then you have a lot of youth that are working, doing community service projects, helping in the community, cleaning up. Right now we have a can drive and a food drive for the flood victims and a clothing drive. So teaching them those leadership skills to make them do some of the things that other kids probably won't do unless they went to a Boys and Girls Club.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about positive social structure and what that means in the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, a lot of times I think about when children get in trouble at the Boys and Girls Club, our first thing is not to throw them out of the Boys and Girls Club. We might do some positive reinforcements or some positive discipline and guidance where we might write them up and, have them read the code of conduct. We have a code of conduct that we go by. The kids know the rules, and if they have to follow them, so they'll, maybe help another child follow a rule. So, in other words, if a child does something wrong, then we might just say, instead of, being put out the club, we're going to have you clean up the club today, or we're going to have you pick up around the club, or we might even just have you recite the code of conduct to the whole club, so that it's not just putting them out and kicking them out the club and saying, okay, we're through with you, you're a bad child, because there are no bad children in my eyes.
Some of our better experiences is when we go on college tours. Like last spring, we went to FAMU and Georgia Tech, and soon I get to go on a free college tour to South Carolina State. But they offer a lot of scholarships, and we have College Bound to help us find the right scholarship for us.
Okay.
We can get recommendations from the Boys and Girls Club staff at many colleges, and it's an overall calm place here. During the summer, we get to volunteer, and we could possibly get paid, so it's pretty good being here.
Well, the Keystone Club is our chance to express ourselves in our communities. Through the Keystone Club, we're able to go around the various parts of the city and help around, like going to an old folks home. We did that one year. We cut down trees for less fortunate families who couldn't afford trees. We helped them with that. And with the Keystone Club, it promotes you to do well in your community and to appreciate what you have, and just to be with your other fellow members.
Pam Neely and her staff gave us great insight and welcomed us in with open arms. We had a great time at the East DeKalb Boys and Girls Club. I felt it was time to bring more awareness to our local community organizations that provide loads of resources and most of all, a safe place where our youth can go. It provides them with good social and moral values that would help shape their future. Also, the information serves as a great preface to our documentary. This is where it all starts, the beginning stages. Now I felt it was time to go a little further, dig a little deeper into the crust of the issue. We attended the National Action Network seminar and youth rally where the topic of the discussion was bullying. We landed some key interviews at which time we were able to establish a connection between disconnected youth and bullying.
When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? Hug the person next to you, tell them you love them.
And I know it's a lot of things that kids go through at school that your parents would have no idea that's going on. So it's kind of like you have like you don't want to really go home and tell your mom or tell your dad everything that's going on at your school, but it's a lot of things that I do know that are going on in schools, and it could even go from just sexual harassment, guys trying to get to girls or doing certain things, saying certain things to them, or just guys or girls trying to get different guys or girls or their peers to join different gangs, and you don't really have anybody to talk to, but it's like situations or things like this where we all come together. That means that we do understand that there is a problem. So any parents or kids out here that have showed up today, you're doing your part to kind of, to make this a better situation, because it is a real thing. So basically, I'm not going to really, I went on to New York, I started my label, I started getting my, different T-Pain, Jaquan, a lot of different things I'm doing musically. And as far as this show, the show that I have on BET is about up-and-coming youth, up-and-coming artists, up-and-coming singers, rappers, or whatever you do to keep you away from things that, real life would tell you are not real things. So I'm kind of out there to kind of listen to the youth. I'm an ear to the streets, or whatever you may want to call it. But I do know that bullying is a real thing, and this is great, and I really want to start these questions for the different panelists so we can start talking about this.
The poverty rate for children born to teen mothers who have never married and have never graduated from high school is 78%. Less than 40% of teen mothers complete high school. Unmarried teen mothers are at greater risk for long-term single motherhood. And it also, again, promotes unhealthy relationships, which could ultimately lead to another issue, teen dating violence, which could ultimately lead to another issue, domestic violence. So my point is, this sort of just bleeds into other areas that have to, I think, one of the solutions begins when we talk about family and home. But that depends on how you define family and how you define home. We think about family as mama, daddy, dog, child. But if we begin to start looking at this in a more non-westernized way and begin to get back to looking at family more as an ethnic family, meaning that I'm responsible for you, you're responsible for me, I'm responsible for that little girl right there, and she's responsible for the little boy that's sitting next to her in the classroom. When we begin to start looking at each other as brothers and sisters, and we're responsible for one another, and we can step in, then I think that's probably the core of beginning to solve a lot of these problems. that we're facing.
Helping them to get back into school and be more active in the community and working as well.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is be concerned. Part of the breaking connection is the breaking concern. They must feel that people feel that they are valued. They must know that no matter what obstacle they face, no matter what derail them in life, they are something of worth, something of value. So I think first showing the concern. Secondly, by actively dealing with their situations to help to place them where they can connect in. Everybody can't connect in the same place. It's like a puzzle. Every piece don't fit the same place. But if you have the concern and the care, you can take any piece and fit it somewhere and make it connect to the whole.
Yes, sir, thank you. And as far as the youth, I live in DeKalb County. Our graduation rate in 2007 was 54.8%. 75% of our students are African American, which lets us know that if we put the numbers together, about 90% of who's not graduating is African American students. What's your input?
That is unacceptable. That is one of the reasons why the Secretary of Education under President Obama and I are going on this tour, is people don't care that our kids are dropping out of school. And you're in DeKalb County, majority black county, and people don't care. If you had the majority of students in other counties that were not black dropping out of school at that rate, it would be a national crisis. It is a national crisis. We need to deal with it. We need to find out what's going on that disconnects these kids, why the teachers can't effectively keep their interests, why the administrators is allowing this dropout rate, what is going on in the homes with the parents. Whoever is responsible, we all need to be accountable, but we cannot tolerate where we've got half of black America dropping out of high school at a technological age like this. This is intolerable to me.
How can organizations come together and work together as one in reaching these youth, being more inserted in the community and getting them to be more active in things of that nature?
Well, one is what you're doing, all of us coming together at this forum, at National Action Network. We need organizations to not compete with each other, but cooperate with each other. And we need to have a collective strategy, because it's all of our problems, it's all of our challenge to have the solution. So I hope we network and hit the streets together, and it can't be from the top down, it has to be from the bottom up. If it's not grassroots, it doesn't mean anything.
And I agree 100%. Thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you for being
Andre
here.
Booker with the Youth Network. Thank you. I'm here with Memphis. He's one of the hosts of The Deal on BET, and he's been pretty much the host today of the youth conference, and just, touching on the topic of bullying and different topics concerning the youth. So Memphis, in your interviewing everybody, what did you see the focus of the conference was, and what did you get out of it?
Really, the focus for me was like the youth talking about when they're being bullied or when they're going through certain things, how the parents respond. Like a lot of parents leave it up to the teachers to raise their kids, when it's really not the teacher's job to raise these kids. I mean, it's really like it starts at school. Things I learned, it starts at school by telling your teacher or going to the next, and you got to keep going. Like these kids, they'll tell the teacher, maybe they don't feel like anything is happening, so now you got to go to the principal. You don't feel like anything is happening with the principal, then you have to go on to the next level, and you just keep going. But really, they can do that at school, but really it starts at home with these parents, man, and because a lot of on the bullying side of things is really what I was concentrating on, was a lot of kids that do bully are bullying because they're insecure. So it really starts at their home, and the kids that are getting bullied, the victims, that also starts at home. How to deal with being a bully, with the parents being more involved in their kids, school life or life in general. Because if they can't come to you for protection, then 9 times out of 10 they're gonna go to their friends for protection or gangs for protection. A lot of kids don't join gangs because they need protection. So if they feel like they can't get it from the teacher that they talked about with it, or they can't get it from home, who they talked to their parents about it, then who else is it to help them out there when faced with certain things? But it might be false friends that come in the form of gangs. So that's what I learned, man. It starts at home, and these parents gotta stop letting these teachers trying to raise their kids and do it themselves. So I got kids myself, so I gotta make sure I step up my game too, as far as raising my kids and not leaving it up to teachers to bring my kids up and teach them what I should be teaching them as a man.
Disconnected youth, by definition, youth between the ages of 18 and 21 who are not contributing to society, who's not a part of the working class and working force. So these are issues that we're tackling here at the Youth Network. I also want to kick off what we're calling Operation Shift Now. And Operation Shift Now is basically where we're shifting into another gear with the youth. We're reaching out to the youth. We want to begin to focus in on what they're dealing with in the community. With Operation Shift, we're jumping in with both feet to tackle this issue, these issues that the teens and the youth face. Come in, Tamia. This is my daughter, Tamia, and she has a shirt here that we're kind of displaying. The Youth Network presents Operation Shift Now. And on the back, go into a little explanation to what we're shifting into and what we're shifting from. Operation Shift represents a twofold 6 components of commitment, in which one side you have society, includes individuals of influence. For example, the parents, the community, the educators, all can be included in this component. We feel as society must shift their focus. For so long, we have seen the youth as just a problem that we can deal with later as opposed to now. We in society must shift our mindset. No longer can we look at the youth and say, I don't have the time to deal with you right now, putting their issues on the back burner. Finally, we must direct more energy into programs that work for the youth. We must shift our focus, our mindset, and our energy towards the youth. Next 3 components we'll take a look at deals with the youth. First, responsibility. The youth must be more responsible with the way that they carry themselves. Next, we must understand the fact that they are held responsible for their actions. Second, let's look at the character component. This is a very important issue because it deals with the way that they carry themselves, present themselves, and how they are received. The character deals with the makeup of